Hi, my name's Gabriella. Welcome to my channel where we talk about and do loads of creative things, including loads of theatre stuff. And today I want to talk about Love Never Dies, the musical, written by the one, the only Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber. So recently he released it on YouTube as part of his The Shows Must Go On while we're all in lockdown. And people have opinions on it. People love it, people hate it, people love the West End version and hate the revised version, people love the revised version and hate the West End version. There's lots of opinions out there, and I love it, so I wanted to talk about it and just go through some of the things that people maybe disagree on, agree on, and I'm going to be talking about the revised version because that's the version that I've seen like in person and digitally. So, first thing is, I think it's so clever in style what they've done with it. It's not like a copy of the Phantom of the Opera, it's its own show. It's not like Phantom 2.0. Yes, they have some of the same like motifs and obviously the recurring characters, but they're so different. They're like night and day, literally. It's like the two sides of a coin. If Phantom is like an epitomization, is that a word? Have I just made that up? Who knows? But if Phantom's an epitomization of Christine, like, you know, set in the Grand Opera House, we live completely in her world except for like the two times that we go down to the Phantom's lair, then on the other side of the coin, Love Never Dies is the epitome of the Phantom. We're completely in his world of freaks, like literally. It's much more mystical and it's pretty much all set in the Phantom's world, apart from one or two moments where you feel removed from it, mainly when Christine is singing. So it's like the show's been completely flipped, which is so genius. It keeps the same styles and it's breathtaking sets and orchestrations that are so beautiful. My one thing about the music is that he seems to have hit upon a few winners and just run with it. Yes, in Phantom he did reuse motifs from time to time, but it at least didn't feel like it, whereas I think the feeling of the same music being repeated, like little bits and pieces of it, is much more present in Love Never Dies. It's almost to the point where I can start singing one song and then without realising start singing another song and then another song and another song, and I'll literally be like halfway through the album or like halfway through all the songs before I realise that I'm not singing the song that I originally started singing anymore, which I think is what some people then sometimes see as having no memorable songs or thinking that the music might not be as good, which is just ridiculous because the music is phenomenal. And I can't believe I spent like 20 minutes ranting about Love Never Dies and did not mention that Till I Hear You Sing is quite possibly the best song that Andrew Lloyd Webber has ever written. And if you've ever heard Ramin Karimli singing it live, oh my God, it's beautiful. There's just quite a lot where the motifs keep popping up, or there's a lot of similarities in tone, especially with a lot of the songs. So one really good example of this is a scene quite near the beginning where we're in Christine's rooms and there's 3, maybe 4 songs all in a row, one into the other, like basically no dialogue. And in my head, that scene is pretty much just all one song. I love them so much, but I keep forgetting that Once Upon Another Time and Beneath a Moonless Sky aren't the same song, and also aren't in that order in the show. Now, on to the characters, and this is where it's going to get kind of spoilery, so if you don't want to be spoiled, proceed at your own risk. So I think one of the main criticisms I see a lot is that Raoul's character has been changed beyond recognition. I hear this said about basically all the characters, but I think it's most evident and talked about in Raoul because he basically goes from being the good guy to the bad guy. And obviously because we don't know what's happened between the two shows in that time period, it just seems very illogical. I think everyone goes into expecting the characters to be in pretty much the same place as they were before, but none of the characters in the show are black and white, like good and bad. Gustav maybe is probably the only one who is like good, or at least does nothing problematic, but they're all very real people and people change. So in Phantom, Raoul is meant to be, he's set up as this knight in shining armour, but so much of what we see of him is him pressuring Christine into things. Fair warning, I am about to go on a rant about Raoul. I'm about to completely slate his character, but then afterwards I will be very much redeeming him, so don't worry. we're just going through the negatives first. So we see him pressuring her to go have dinner with him to celebrate, even when she's being like, I cannot go with you. Pressuring her to sing the role, go on stage. Pressuring her to be the bait for the Phantom, this murderer. Literally being like, I will offer your life up so that I can kill the man who's after you. Wanting her to reveal the marriage when literally a few months ago, Christine had this obsessive mad stalker who had already kidnapped her and killed someone, plus caused so much damage and like things going wrong in this theatre that multiple people had left. Like, it may have been some months, but mad stalkery people don't just disappear for no reason. Not to mention the thought of that, and also thinking about why he may have left, is probably really playing on Christine's mind. And also she seems to have like some sort of innate connection sort of thing with him, like sense of him, I don't know, it seems a bit weird, but she can kind of seem to sense him quite often. So she's probably very aware that he has not gone anywhere. So Raoul should really be listening to her when she says it's still very dangerous. And he doesn't. Nor does he make any real attempt to understand the connection between Christine and the Phantom, and he straight up refuses to believe in him for so long, basically trying to convince Christine that she's just imagining things, and it literally puts her in danger. So you might be able to tell that I'm not Raoul's biggest fan. Him being so demanding of her and putting so much pressure on her has always kind of like put me off a little bit. I will say though that the 25th anniversary concert Hadley Fraser is quite possibly the only person who has ever managed to make me like Raoul, but I did like Raoul in that performance, so. And the thing is, I don't think Raoul's attitude comes from a bad place, but at least to me, it appears like his behaviour is pretty much as manipulative as the Phantom's. The whole thing's basically a conflict between the Phantom and Raoul for Christine, which is another thing that changes between Phantom and Love Never Dies, is the perception of who out of the two of them is the bad guy. But in both shows, you still see the good in both of them. So when people say that Raoul has changed dramatically, those toxic behaviours were already there. In Love Never Dies, I feel like there was a growing resentment of Christine's singing, but to be honest, that can quite easily be put down to probably reminding both of them about the Phantom, and I feel like what happened with the Phantom is probably something that's hung quite heavily over them in their marriage and put a lot of strain on it. Not to mention the fact that Christine has known this entire time that Gustav is not Raoul's son. That's gonna put some strain on a marriage. And I can't imagine it would have been difficult for Raoul to end up drinking and gambling. Like, when you think of the stereotypical wealthy man of that time, all they seem to do in their spare time is go into the smoking room and drink and gamble. So for it to go too far, especially if he starts losing, that does not seem unrealistic by any stretch of the imagination to me. And then add in this whole boatload of trauma from Phantom of the Opera and all the repercussions of it, voila! He never struck me as the type of person that was a good loser, really. He could not seem to take no for an answer in Phantom, so none of this surprises me in any way. But he does have good qualities. They haven't been completely erased like some people seem to think. He still really loves Christine, and I think a lot of his anger comes from the shame that he can't provide for her like he wants to. That he can't be everything for her because he doesn't understand her music world. And we do see this early on in the show as well, not just towards the end after he's forced to confront all his feelings and everything. Right from the beginning, if you actually look at it, you can see that all of his frustrations seem to stem from the fact that he can't provide for her, give her the life that he wants her to have, and the shame that she has to be the one cleaning up their messes and providing for both of them, when he thinks in his mind he's so set that it should be the other way round. Which is still very misguided. Like, she seems absolutely fine with what she's got, so he's basically just deciding what she wants for her, which is still kind of toxic, but it does come from a really good place, which is obviously he really loves her and really wants the best for her, even if he doesn't necessarily fully understand what is best for her. He deeply wants the best for her. Then, when he is forced to confront his past, before he even has confrontation with the Phantom or anything, all he can think about is how good and amazing she is. And then when he finds out that Gustav might not be his, he doesn't flip out like you would probably expect him to. Like, I don't know about anyone else, but coming into Love Never Dies, seeing where Raoul was at, seeing how drunk and like controlling he was, I think most people would have expected him, upon hearing that, to absolutely flip, go mental at Christine, and either just straight up leave or drag them all away, never to be seen again kind of thing. But this is where he actually shows real character growth. Not just from across Love Never Dies, but across Phantom as well. And maybe you could put it down to him having vented all his anger, like directing all his anger at the Phantom. But I think he does see that it isn't just a contest between the two of them, even though they then literally sing a whole battle song, I am fully aware. And that's because he does something quite remarkable. He goes to Christine, says his bit, and then lets her make her own choice. Yes, he tries to guilt her a little bit, but he pours his heart out to her, and his heart is still good and in the right place. And then he shows that he doesn't just love her enough to keep fighting for her no matter what, but he loves her enough that he lets her choose, which is literally the first time across both shows that I think she's been allowed to do this by literally anyone. And then he holds his end of the bargain, doesn't run off with Gustav, he keeps his end of the deal. He is still a good person underneath. He's just changed over time, like we all do. Some changes really very much for the worse, but also some changes for the much, much better. So I'm gonna wrap up there because I don't want this to turn into a complete video essay, but if you enjoyed it and want me to do more, like talk about more things, I didn't really touch on the plot at all. There are so many more characters that I can talk about, the changes between, there's so much more I can talk about with this show. I really love it quite a lot. So if you want to hear my thoughts on any other parts of this show, let me know which ones and I will do follow-up videos very happily. So give the video a like if you want to see more of it, or comment below to let me know what you want to see specifically. And if you have any opinions on anything that I've just gone through, let me know in the comments. Would love to discuss. As you can probably tell, I'm quite invested in this show, so very happy to sit and discuss all day, any day. If you agree, disagree, let me know, let's chat. And make sure to subscribe because I'm doing loads of videos right now because I have nothing else to do with my time. So if you want to see more stuff like this, or check out some of my other videos, see what other stuff I do. I do quite an assortment. It's been mainly theatre focused recently, but there's a lot of variety here. I do lots of different things. So if you want to stick around and see more, then just make sure to subscribe, and hopefully I will see you very soon in a new video. So until then, hope you're staying safe and well, and I will see you very soon. Bye!